Hey, good morning, everyone. Mig here from Hopper Adventures, aka Grasshopper Adventures series. We have a pre-race ride video of our slideshow to help you have a good, safe, fun experience here at the Huffmaster Hopper this weekend. In addition to this, with the rider email, you'll have a link to the slideshow so you can check it out um, at your own pace. First off, we have a map of the Huffmaster Hopper, different than the ride with GPS, though it does have the QR link right here with the legend, with the start to finish the route, showing the key gravel sections, which we'll be going over more in detail in a bit, as well as the elevation profile. In addition, there is the Huffmaster Hopper for the mini Huffmaster. Not so many if you've done this. In fact, this would have a much stiffer climb than any of the climbs on the long one when you're climbing out of sights up to the top of Rail Canyon. Again, feed zone, gravel sections, QR code for the map. Registration, you can pick up your packet either on Friday from 5 to 8 at Granzella's Bar in Williams. Stop by the specialized tent and pick up your coupon for 10% off dinner. In addition, they'll be making a donation to the Adventure Therapy Foundation, which is our nonprofit recipient for this event. Saturday at Maxwell High School, Reg will open at 6:30 and go all the way till 10. In case you haven't noticed, we've changed the start times, and we will discuss that in a little bit, so you don't have to show up first thing in the morning. Depends on when your start and staging time is. In addition to that, don't forget that if you pick up your reg packet the night before, then you're all good. Here's a link to the Google map with some key points that you can check out and save if you need to. Included this is registration, both at Granzella's and at the school. Parking. There's several options for parking. This at the high school is very, very small, and about half of it will be reserved for people helping out with the hoppers. There's parking at the rodeo grounds down here. The parking in front of the church is open. They've given us permission as it's a Saturday. There's lots of parking as you enter the school on the north side of town next to the train tracks. There's some parking on the side of the road, though it got a little hectic last year. And then you could park in here on these streets. Note, we're going to have about 15 portos right here. Please do not pee in the fields or the orchards and people's yards. It does get noticed, and when it does happen, such as at Ukiah at the staging, we do hear about that. There's a link to the feed zone 1, which we'll go over a little bit, as well as the finish. And our after party is over here next to the fire department. Lunch, bring a snack. What does that mean? What this means is we're doing our best to feed 500 to 600 people and have them prepare in advance. And there's often, as you know, long waits. So whenever I would race, I'd always have something to eat afterwards. Recovery. Scratch will be on some hand for a recovery shake in case you're able to catch them. And then you'll have choices between Mimi's Taco Burritos or Sourdough Rob's Pizza and Salad or pulled pork sandwich. In addition to at this area, we'll have the Musers playing again and a bake sale by one of the high school groups and our podium. Friday afternoon, if you're able to make it, this little squiggly line represents the shakeout ride due to the fact that there's likely to be some precipitation on Friday. Instead of starting over here in Maxwell, we'll be starting here at Sites, going up to the top of Huffmaster, back down to Leesville, and then back. So it's a nice 20, almost 25-mile ride, 2,000 feet, all dirt, 100% gravel. If you do want more, of course, you could start in Maxwell and just time it accordingly to meet us here for the shakeout ride. Joining us will be specialized athletes Katarina Nash, Flavio Olvera, Ali Tedrick, and enduro-bearing athletes Jeff Kabush and Yuri Hauswald. Let's go back to Maxwell High School just to give you a close-up look about how the day is going to flow. This is where camping is allowed both Friday and Saturday night. If you do stay Saturday night, make sure that you vacate the area early Sunday morning, as there's an event at the rodeo grounds. This is the rodeo ground where I had some good childhood memories. Asterisk next to that. Once I was bucked off of a horse as it bolted out of here. Another time jumping on these bars, I landed on my arm and broke both my forearm bones completely in half. Yowza. And this is the football field where my dad almost caused a brawl as an announcer when the referees made a mistake, and he called it 5th and 1. It got a little rowdy at the end of the day. I digress. So here's where we're going to register. Super early people. There'll be some parking here. This will be employees and sponsors parking here. Staging is to the west side of the high school. Please do not go along the road and try and enter. That's too complicated. These arrows show a flow path to get into here when it's your staging area, or better yet, down Pacific Street, around the rodeo on this gravel road to line up back here behind the school. Here's Ride with GPS map, which hopefully you've looked at and become familiar with and downloaded. The blue sections represent the gravel, and the red represents the pavement. There's a couple spots to be particularly aware of, and I'm going to point those out right now. The start from Maxwell on the long course goes north on McDermott, and you come ripping into this straightaway gravel section with a 90-degree left-hand turn. So very likely you're going to have your full group. So in some cases, 100 people ripping into this left-hand corner. Please make this corner take it with care and caution and be careful. Yeah, that's what I can say. Be careful and know the corner's coming. So it's going to be signed, but if you're in a group and you're trying to keep in your position, heads up. The loose gravel on these really is on the side, as you know, when vehicles are driving and the gravel gets tossed to the sides. So pick your best line and ride with caution. The next spot is up here on this gravel section. We'll make a right-hand turn. Okay, as you can imagine, when you're in a large group and you're making a 90-degree turn, that's a place to be careful on the gravel. Up here is where the course gets onto the highway for about 5 miles. There's a left onto 162. There will be 2 CHPs working this beat back and forth to make sure that riders ride carefully and safely, and the drivers drive carefully and safely. You must stop and follow the rules of the road. They will not be controlling traffic. This is essential. So it's likely that you show up with a group. Some people can pull through because it's clear. Make sure that it's clear for everyone before your group proceeds so you're not splitting the group. Along here, do your best to stay single file or as narrow as possible. The wind will be coming from the north. The tendency will want to be to echelon out in the road. The CHP will catch you and sight you and cause problems for our group. It's essential for the people stay safe in here. This is not going to be the winning move for the day. At this intersection here, there's a left off of the road. And again, you're going from highway onto a county road at this spot. So you're going to be careful to make sure the coast is clear ahead of you and behind you so that your whole group that you're with can make this turn. This caution point represents the descent off of the top of the first climb. You'll know when you've done the first climb, it's significant. Take a look around. To the west, you're going to see the snow-capped Mendocino National Forest. To the north, you'll see Lassen and Shasta. And to the east and south, you will see the Sutter Buttes and Tahoe. It's a beautiful spot. Down here, this is going to be your feed zone, okay, followed by sorry. This is your feed zone right down here at the bottom. More gravel. This point represents where you will need to, if it's too late, make a turn and continue back to the start. We'll give you, I have another slide to show you that. The gravel sections to Huffmaster grade. Let's continue. Short course riders, similar to the long, yet not. So when you head out from Maxwell, you'll be the last ones to start at 10:10. You just take the pavement all the way out to sites. Flat through here, nice rolling climb. This part's a beautiful climb. You get some shelter from the wind till you top out the top of rail grade, descending down into Ladoga. Your one feed zone for the day will be the second feed zone for the long course, climbing up Huffmaster and ripping down Huffmaster. Don't forget that for both courses, last year we added a new change with a gravel finish. When you make this little elbow here and start going straight towards Maxwell, you take a right here, a left on Finks, and then a left on Sutton. And then your finish is in on Sutton Road in the gravel. These are the start times. 9 a.m. pro men and women is when we will start. Staging, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes before that, we'll do a little pre-ride chat. 5 minutes later, all age group women categories and non-binary will start. And then we'll have a 15-minute break until the first age group of the men. This will allow riders to get out on course and to hopefully get off of the highway and onto the county roads before there's overlapping of groups. And then there's 10 minutes between each start. Last year we had 5 minutes, and several of the groups were catching their age groups or some of them ahead of them on the state highway. So our goal is that if there's any catching, is that it will happen after that point. Super important out there, folks. When you are catching groups of riders, please call out to them and pass safely. Wait until it's safe. I've heard more than one story of people passing in dangerous situations, not giving heads up. Likewise, if you're being caught by a group, that means they're going faster. There's no reason for people to get all foamy and trying to jump on the back of that group. Please stay with your group over to the side and let them play through. Okay, and then at 10:10, all the short quarter riders will head out. These are images of the turns I was talking about when it goes from BB onto the state highway. There's a sharp left. Looks quite different now. I believe there's a flowering, got an olive trees over here or cherries. I can't recall. But anyways, this is where you have to come to a stop sign and you turn onto a state highway. 5 miles down the road, this is where the California Highway 162 turns left onto Road 302. You have a good line of sight here. Nonetheless, make sure that the course is clear. The finish at the end of the day, as we mentioned, we'll be coming down Finks, turning left on Sutton. This is a loose corner. It's a four-way. So if you are contesting the sprint or if you wish to, please set up in advance so that you're prepared to come into this corner. Give riders a heads up. Hopefully you'll be having warnings or a heads up on your Garmin or your other device to help you prepare for this corner. Here's the finish zone. Please roll through the finish zone for a ways. Then you could stop and chat. This road will be on Sutton will be closed to traffic, after which you can cruise back to Maxwell to change, grab some food, grab a drink. This is Austin and Miguel. I don't know which one's which. Maybe I'm probably Bovisponka. We're happy because you're happy and you're following the rules of the road and everyone's safe. Let's talk about the feed zone. Etiquette, what's expected. This is feed zone 1, so this only applies to people doing the long course. On road 303, after the gravel descent, you'll come to this intersection of 303 and Rail Canyon. Everyone must come through to the right. They'll be signed. We'll clean this up well. You'll come through here, set your bikes down around this corner, and then you will fill up either scratch or water at the aid station. All right, so please set your bikes out of the way. Okay, fill your bottles on your own and then proceed. There is a bottle drop with the specialized crew at the start. Make sure your bottles are clearly labeled. They will be set out here in the front of the road. If you want to pause and grab your bottles, set your other ones down. No shouting at people, throwing your bottles. And we ask that if you roll in with a group, if you roll in with 6 or 8 people, okay, the sporting thing to do would be to say, hey, let's grab our bottles and roll together, with the exception of someone taking time to like stretch their hammies, obviously, so you can roll out together and not open a gap due to the enter and the exit of the feed zone. It'll go a long way in making sure everyone has a great time and feels positive about the experience. Please only give a bottle at NorCal if you really feel like you're competing for the top spots in your age group. The fewer bottles we put out there, the easier it will be for people to find. There'll be plenty of jugs for you to stop and fill up on your own. And because of the time split in the groups, it should not be as hectic as in the past. What is this title for? Oops, forgot to take that out. That is correct. This is for the bottle drop, and it's a notice of the shakedown ride. So look for the specialized van to leave your bottles clearly labeled. They'll also have a setup of some of the sick new specialized bikes, and don't forget to stop and say hey and see what's going on, especially with the STR. I've been loving it. Everyone asks me. It's a fantastic ride. They'll be at the after party. Marshall crew, thank you so much. Thank you, Sportful, for kitting them out. Looking so good. Okay. They're out there for your safety. So if they're saying something to you about riding, please listen and respect that. If there's riders in need of help or anything you notice out on the course, don't hesitate to let them know. We'll have 3 riders on e-bikes, specialized not Levos, Creos to facilitate them moving around quickly on the course. Anyways, thanks, Marshalls and Sportful. This is just a pic of some, we'll have some pics of what the course looks like. This is the first gravel section of the day when you're proceeding straight and turning left right here. So as you notice, okay, turns to pavement afterwards, you guys will be turning left. This is a good example of what some of the valley gravel looks like. Washboard in the middle in some sections. Overall, not a lot of washboard. It's riding pretty well. It gets kind of deep in the middles and on the sides of the road. We'll once again have yellow caution signs. Thanks, Signorama, for your great signs that you've made for us. When we put caution signs, we mean it. So please, we'll put them in advance of the corners or section. Please have that be a warning that there's likely a sharp corner, loose corner, potholes, ruts coming up. Another good example of gravel in the middle and on the side. This is where early on when you're in a group, trying to stay in the group and being careful about over here, because if you move over to the side and wipe out, you're likely to cause problems to people behind you. This is the top of the first climb, which I mentioned. You can look down in the valley, and to the north, you'll have a view of Lassen. Double caution if necessary. Top of Rail Canyon. This is the section, same as last year when Rail Canyon, after the first feed zone, you go for about 8 miles and you hit Sites Ladoga Road. The cutoff there is 145. So if you're at 145 or later, you need to take the cutoff back via Sites Maxwell Road to the quote unquote town of Sites, about 8-9 miles away. And then you'll be back on course to finish at Maxwell. If you get there sooner than this and it still feels like too long of a day to finish, it's still a fantastic route to go back, and you'll still have a good day. Start finish. Here's the finish line. Then we'll go into Maxwell. Thanks again for partnering. We're excited to partner with Adventure Therapy Foundation. You'll meet Lauren and her family at the first feed zone and at the finish. If you've left bottles or things at the feed zone, eventually they'll make their way back. Please grab them from us. We're always left over with those things. Anything else will be recycled or donated. Don't forget to stop by our little swag thing if you want to pick up a t-shirt or a hat if you didn't have a chance at the registration. At the after party, enjoy. There won't be benches per se, so I encourage people to bring a blanket or a camp chair so they can sit and hang out. And as always, we remind people and recommend that even though we're in a small town, that people either lock their bikes or leave them in their vehicles so that you can hang out and relax. Sierra Nevada will be on hand pouring beer. We'll have ice cold Sonoma County Sebastopol Yerba Mate Guayaki, as well as Beste NA beer. And remember, from our amazing sponsors at Enduro Bearings, the rider to cross the finish line closest to 2 p.m., but not after, wins a new bottom bracket. And we're going to actually have to discuss this. Anyways, that's as it stands right now, closest. So if you start at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, yep, that works. It stands 2 p.m. Closest 2 p.m., but not after, wins a new bottom bracket. Only race in the world to have these amazing medals, custom medals by Enduro Bearings. Be sure to stop by their booth and check out how to keep your bike spinning smoothly. Talk to Jeff Kabush, Yuri Hauswald. We have Sportful jerseys and escape tees. Stop by the Sportful tent. Talk to Paul. This is an example of the jersey, and then the escape tees are great for casual riding, mountain biking. We'll have posted prior to the event the results to the Huffmaster, as well as the finished pics photos. So you should be able to see the results as they're updated, and we'll have a chance for you guys to let us know if you see mistakes or corrections. On that note, please remember, do not wrap your number. It must go on your bar. There is no guarantee that we will be able to go back and enter your name if it's not read due to misplacing your number. Adds a very challenging situation for the race timer. So please, bars, number on the bars. Thank you. Huge thank you to all our sponsors here at the Grasshoppers. We couldn't do it without you. We're thrilled to be bringing you the Huffmaster in the Valley. So for now, that's all we've got for you guys. The registration is closed. The wait list is closed. If you need to transfer day of or on Friday night, we're going to allow that. You can bring whoever's registration you're transferring from to let us know. It's $20 to transfer those manually, but we are allowing it, unlike at Ukiah, which was impossible due to the agreement with the private landowners and the waivers. You can change your category from short to long or long to short on your own for free. But as soon as that function closes, I think tomorrow, if you're doing it at the night or the day of, it's $10 for us to do that. So that's what we got for you guys. Rubber side down, and we'll see ya in Maxwell.